came to serve your country, and you came to show yourselves, your family, and the world that you are among the smartest, toughest, strongest, most lethal warriors ever to walk on this planet. Looking out at all of you today, I can proudly say, mission accomplished. Great job. But now you have to go on. You have to forget that, because now you have another. It's a sad thing, isn't it? You know, you can't rest on your laurels no matter what. You just have to keep going. You take a little day off, and you go on to the rest, because you have to have victory after victory after victory, and that's what you're going to have as you receive your commissions as second lieutenants. Each of you continues down the same hallowed path, walked by titans and legends of U.S. military lore, giants like Ulysses S. Grant, John Blackjack Pershing, Dwight David Eisenhower, the one and only Douglas MacArthur, old blood and guts George Patton, and Norman Schwarzkopf. All great. So many more. They and countless other patriots before you have walked out of these halls and straight into history, and today you officially join those immortal heroes in a proud ranks of the long gray line. You know that term, so beautiful, the long gray line. Among the 1,000 cadets graduating today, 26 of you wear the prestigious star wreath, signifying the highest level of academic achievement. Please stand up. 26. Let's see if somebody stands who shouldn't be standing. Congratulations. That's a big honor. This class includes an incredible 4 Rhodes Scholars. Stand up, please. 4. Wow. That's tied for the most of any West Point class since 1959. That's great. 4. Congratulations. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. I want to bring them right to the Oval Office. I don't want to have them go too far away from me. 8 cadets here today took on the challenge of designing their own hypersonic rocket. Oh, we can use you. We're building them right now. You know, we had ours stolen. We are the designer of it. We had it stolen during the Obama administration. They stole it. You know who stole it? The Russians stole it. Something bad happened. But we're the designer of it, and we're now building them, and lots of them. And earlier this year, they launched it into space, setting a world record for amateur rocketry. Can't get you in there fast enough. This class excelled not only mentally, but also physically. Last January, when more than 1,000 cadets volunteered for an 18.5-mile march on a freezing winter night, Cadet Chris Verdugo completed the task in 2 hours and 30 minutes flat, smashing the international record for the competition by 13 minutes. Where is he? Where is he? Come up here. Come up here, Chris. Get up here, Chris. Wow. Come here. That's by 13 minutes. Come here, Chris. I want to see this guy. Say something. Come here. Come here.
It's been a long 5 years, but I couldn't have done it with any of these guys. Love you guys all. Thank you.
Wow. That's great. Keep it going, Chris. That really is a definition of Army strong, isn't it? International. International. This class includes 513 graduates who completed Air Assault School, 70 who completed Airborne School, 8 who made it through the Ultra Elite Army Diver School, among the most difficult and grueling programs anywhere on Earth. That includes the first 2 women in West Point history to complete diver school, cadets Megan Cooper and Clara Sabu. Where are you? Stand up. Where are they? Wow, great job. That is not easy. Congratulations, Megan, Clara. That's a job well done. Fantastic. Thank you very much. Some of you achieved a different kind of distinction here at the Academy, including 7 Century men who completed 100 hours of marching for disciplinary, infractions. No, don't tell me I'm doing this. Oh, I'm so sorry. Would you like to stand up? I don't know. I think I saw Chris standing up. Chris, what's going on here? Well, you had one good, one not so good, right, Chris? Can't believe Chris is standing up. But we want everyone to leave here today, Chris, so you're going to be okay, because I'm going to do something with a clean slate. So in keeping with tradition, I hereby pardon all cadets on restriction for minor conduct offenses effective immediately, so you're all okay. You're all okay. The class of 2025 is a lot to be proud of, including your first-rate athletes and athletics. You are something. I've been watching, too. I love the sports stuff. What you've done is pretty amazing. Last year, for the first time ever, Army lacrosse became the #1 ranked men's lacrosse team in the entire country. Think of that. Those of you on the team, stand. That's a big honor. Stand. Great. That's a tough sport, too. That's #1 in the country. Your sophomore year, Army football beat Navy 2017. And the next year, you did it again, beating Navy 17-11 and dominating Air Force 23-3. But this year, the Black Knights fought your way into the top 20 nationally and racked up your longest winning streak since 1949 with the help of graduating quarterback cadet Bryson Daly, or as you call him, Captain America. Captain America. Stand up, Bryson. Where's Bryson? We got to get him up here, right? Come on, Bryson. Come on. Man, oh, man. I heard I came to a game and I said, yeah, he can get into the NFL, can he? But he chose this life. And you know what? I think he made a good choice. Come on up here, Bryson. Come on up. Wow.
Go Army football. Shout out the Hogs, age 4. Can't wait to graduate. Love you guys.
just tapped his shoulder. It's like I hit a piece of steel. Guy's in good shape. There's a reason, you know, there's always a reason for success. Thank you, Bryson. At a time when other top college quarterbacks were thinking about going pro, Bryson's mind was on something else. As he told an interviewer earlier this year, I'm focused on my career as an infantry officer. That's what he wants to do. So, Bryson, you did the right thing, and that's service at its finest. Thanks, Bryson. That's amazing. He's an amazing guy with an amazing team. Each of you on the field today is among the most talented members of your generation. You could have done anything you wanted. You could have gone anywhere. You could have gone to any school. This is one of the hardest schools to get into. And writing your own ticket to top jobs on Wall Street or Silicon Valley wouldn't be bad, but I think what you're doing is better. Instead of sports teams and spreadsheets and software, you chose a life of service, very important service, instead of stock options. And I do that stuff. It's sort of boring. Honestly, compared to what you're doing, it's real boring. You chose honor and you chose sacrifice. And instead of business suits and dress shoes, you chose muddy boots and fatigues, keeping yourself in shape. Because West Point cadets don't just have the brightest minds, you also have the bravest hearts and the noblest souls. You're amazing people. I could not be more proud to serve you as your commander-in-chief, and our country is doing well. We've turned it around very quickly. We've turned it around. I just got back from the Middle East, and I was at, as you know, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and I will tell you, they said, all three leaders, great leaders of those three nations, they all said the same thing. The United States of America is hotter now than we've ever seen it, and a year ago, it was as cold as it gets, and it's true. It's true. We have the hottest country in the world, and the whole world is talking about it. And that's an honor for all of us. I cannot wait to see the glory that is still ahead, however, for the West Point class of 2025. And we're going to help you a lot because we're going to give you a nation as good or better than it ever was. That's what I promise you. All the victories that you've had together on these grounds will soon pale in comparison to the momentous deeds that you'll perform on the mission you're accepting today. And as a future leader of America's Army, and we have that Army geared up, we have ordered, you know, we just went $1 trillion military budget, General. Do you know that? $1 trillion. Some people say, could you cut it back? I said, I'm not cutting 10 cents. There's another thing we can cut. We can cut plenty of others. Right, Dan? We can cut plenty of other things. And you have a good man in Dan, too, General. I think you're going to find that. It's a very different warfare out there today. Now they've introduced a thing called drone. A drone is a little bit different. It makes you have to go back and learn a whole new form of warfare, and you're going to do it better than anybody else. There won't be anybody close. Generation after generation, the men and women of the Army have done whatever it takes to defend our flag, pouring out their blood onto the fields of battle all over the world. And all over the world, you're respected like nobody is respected. Our soldiers have sprinted through storms of bullets, clouds of shrapnel, slogged through miles of dirt and oceans of sand, scaled towering cliffs of jagged rock. And time again, the American soldier has charged into the fires of hell and sent the devil racing in full retreat. No task has ever been too tough for America's Army. And now that 250-year legacy of glory and triumph belongs to you, the 1,000 newest officers of the greatest fighting force in the history of the world. And that's what you are, and that's what you're being thought of. Again, you are the first West Point graduates of the golden age of America. This is the golden age, I tell you. Promise. We're in a new age. This is the golden age. And you are going to lead the Army to summits of greatness it has never reached before. And you see that. You see what's happening. You see what's going on in the world. Each of you is entering the Officer Corps at a defining moment in the Army's history. For at least 2 decades, political leaders from both parties have dragged our military into missions it was never meant to be. It wasn't meant to be. People would say, why are we doing this? Why are we wasting our time, money, and souls in some case? They sent our warriors on nation-building crusades to nations that wanted nothing to do with us, led by leaders that didn't have a clue in distant lands, while abusing our soldiers with absurd ideological experiments here and at home. All of that's ended. You know that. All of it's ended. It's ended strongly ended. They're not even allowed to think about it anymore. They subjected the armed forces to all manner of social projects and political causes while leaving our borders undefended and depleting our arsenals to fight other countries' wars. We fought for other countries' borders, but we didn't fight for our own border, but now we do, like we have never fought before, by the way. But under the Trump administration, those days are over. We're getting rid of the distractions, and we're focusing our military on its core mission, crushing America's adversaries, killing America's enemies, and defending our great American flag like it has never been defended before. The job of the U.S. Armed Forces is not to host drag shows, to transform foreign cultures, but to spread democracy to everybody around the world at the point of a gun. The military's job is to dominate any foe and annihilate any threat to America, anywhere, anytime, and any place. A big part of that job is to be respected again, and you are, as of right now, respected more than any army anywhere in the world, and that's happening, and I can tell you, you are respected like nobody can believe. As president, I am laser-focused on our core national interests. My preference will always be to make peace and to seek partnership, even with countries where our differences may be profound. As you know, we're working on a lot of things right now. When I left office 4 years ago, we had no wars, we had no problems, we had nothing but success. We had the most incredible economy, the greatest, single greatest economy for a president in history. I think we're going to beat it this time by a lot, if you want to know the truth. But we had something going on very special. But if the United States or its allies are ever threatened or attacked, the Army will obliterate our opponents with overwhelming strength and devastating force. That's why my administration has begun a colossal buildup of the United States Armed Forces, a buildup like we've never had before. Peace through strength. You know the term. I've used it a lot. Because as much as you want to fight, I'd rather do it without having to fight. I just want to look at them and have them fold. And that's happening. That's happening. And I've approved a $1 trillion investment, and that will be, again, the largest ever in the history of our country. And we are buying you new airplanes, brand new, beautiful planes, redesigned planes, brand new planes, totally stealth planes. I hope they're stealth. I don't know. That whole stealth thing, I'm sort of wondering. You mean if we shape a wing this way, they don't see it, but the other way they see it? I'm not so sure. But that's what they tell me. We have the best tanks anywhere in the world. We're going to start shipbuilding again. We're going to start ship. We used to build a ship a day. Now we don't build them anymore. We had a lot of people that didn't know much about getting things built, but that's all I've done in my life is build. We're going to have the best missiles. We already do, drones, and much, much more. And earlier this week, I think you'll like this, I announced that we are officially building all in America, made in America, designed in America. We're the only ones that could do it because we're the only ones with the great technology. We're building the Golden Dome missile defense shield to protect our homeland and to protect West Point from attack. And it will be completed before I leave office. And, you know, you wouldn't think this, but our enemies are very unhappy about it. You've been hearing, you've been reading. Why are they doing that? Why? Well, we're doing it because we want to be around for a long time. That's why we're doing it. We're also restoring the fundamental principle that a central purpose of our military is to protect our own borders from invasion. Our country was invaded for the last 4 years. And they've allowed people to come into our country that shouldn't be here. Criminals walk in, no vetting, no check-in, no nothing. Where are they coming from? And they were taking people out of prisons. They were taking gang members. They were taking the mentally insane and allowing them to come in, and we're getting them out of our country. We have no choice. We're getting them out and bringing them back where they came from. Have no choice. And it's not easy. It's not easy. But hopefully the courts will allow us to continue. You know, we had the greatest election victory. This was November 5th. We won the popular vote by millions of votes. We won all 7 swing states. We won everything. We won 2,750 districts against 505, 2,750 against 505. We had a great mandate, and it gives us the right to do what we want to do to make our country great again, and that's what we're going to do. And on day one, I deployed our military to the southern border, and since that day, we've reduced the number of illegal border crossings where there used to be hundreds of thousands of people coming into our country a day. We had nobody come in the last week and a half. We were at 99.999%. 99.999, think of that. That was with the help of our military. We had one person come in. One. You know why? He got very sick. We brought him through to have him brought to a hospital. One person. And for that, please don't hold me responsible, but that's okay. They did the right thing. Gone are the days where defending every nation but our own was the primary thought. We are putting America first. We have to put America first. We have to rebuild and defend our nation. And very shortly, you're going to see a nation better than it's ever been. And you see that with the trade. For years, we've been ripped off by every nation in the world on trade. We've been ripped off at the NATO level. We've been ripped off like no country has ever been ripped off, but they don't rip us off anymore. They're not going to rip us off anymore. And you're seeing it. You have to watch what we're doing on trade. I know it's not your primary thing, but it's quite important in all fairness. But watch. You'll see what's going on. You've been reading about it over the last few days. We're making deals with other nations that were nobody thought it would be even possible. And the reason is very simple. They respect us again. They're respecting our country again. That's what you want. And everything we do, we are bringing common sense back to America. It's all about common sense. We can say we're liberal, we're conservative. The new word is progressive. They don't like using the word liberal anymore. That's why I call them liberal. But whatever you are, you know, most importantly, you have to have common sense, because most of it's about common sense when you get right down to it. And we have a lot of people with a lot of very smart people, but they have to have common sense. And we've liberated our troops from divisive and demeaning political trainings. There will be no more critical race theory or transgender for everybody forced onto our brave men and women in uniform or on anybody else for that matter in this country. And we will not have men playing in women's sports, if that's okay. I mean, I wouldn't want to have to tackle, as an example, Bryson as a man. But I don't think a lot of women want to tackle him. I don't think so. How crazy is it? Men playing in women's sports, how crazy is it? So ridiculous, so demeaning to women. And it's over. That's over. We've ended it. And promotions and appointments will not be based on politics or identity. They'll be based on merit. We won that case in the Supreme Court of the United States. We're allowed to go back to a system of merit. We're a merit-based country again. Today, morale in the armed forces is soaring to the highest levels in many decades after years of recruiting shortfalls. So we had years and years of recruiting shortfalls. And just last year was the worst of all, the last year of the Biden administration. We couldn't get anybody to join our military. We couldn't get anybody to join our police or firefighters. We couldn't get anybody to join anything. And right now, just less than a year later, we just set a brand new peacetime recruiting record. The most people joined, and we are brimming. In fact, be careful. There's somebody going to try and take your job. Be careful. You better be good. We are brimming with confidence, and we're brimming with people. We had the best recruiting month that we've had in memory. Nobody remembers anything like it. And that's all because they have spirit now. They have spirit. They have a spirit for our country. And now everybody wants to be doing what you're doing. Think of that. So it's really a great honor, I will say. And I'm pleased to report that by next week, the Army is expected to surpass its recruiting targets for the entire year, something that hasn't happened in 28 years where we've had that. So that's pretty good. And it's nice to know that you're doing something that everybody wants to do, isn't it? Really nice. I hated to hear that. During the campaign, I was hearing that you couldn't get people to enlist, but now we're getting people, and it's sad because we're telling so many people, I'm sorry, we can't do it. My administration is doing everything possible to forge the most powerful military ever built. But ultimately, the task of keeping America strong and safe in the years ahead is going to belong to you. Among you are the lieutenants, majors, colonels, and generals who lead the Army for the next 10, 20, 30, and even 40 years. So as Commander-in-Chief, let me offer a few words of advice as you begin your Army careers. And I thought I'd do this, and I can make this to a civilian audience or to a military audience. It's pretty much the same. And I did this recently at Ohio State, and they really liked it. I gave them a little advice as to what I see for what you want to do and some tips. And first of all, and you've already done it, different from civilians, they're making their decision right now. You've already made your decision. I love your decision. You have to do what you love. You have to do what you love. If you don't love it, you'll never be successful at it. And you've done this, and you really, many of you in the audience, many of you that are graduating, you come from military backgrounds or you love the military. It's what you want to do. It's what you want to talk about. One thing I see about people that love the military, that's all they want to talk about. I'll be out to dinner, and generals, if they love their job, usually the only good ones are the ones that want to talk about it all the time. But if they talk, that's what they want to talk about. I really, very rarely see somebody who's successful that doesn't love what he or she does. You have to love what you do. In your case, the military is what you chose, and I'll tell you what, you cannot go wrong. You're going to see it, too. You're going to love it more and more with time. You know, I work all the time. That's all I do is I work, whether it's politically or before that. I was a very good businessman, in case you haven't heard, really good. But I was good because I loved it. I loved it. I learned from my father a little bit. My father was a happy guy, and all he did was work. He'd work Saturdays, Sundays. He'd work all the time, and he was a happy guy. He just loved life. And I learned that. I say, you know, it makes him happy. I've seen other people that never work, and they're not happy. But you got to love it. Otherwise, you won't be successful. In the Army, there are a lot of different paths you can take. So follow your instincts and make sure that you take the path that you love, that you're doing something that you love within your military. You will be happier, and the Army will be far stronger for it. Second is to think big. Always think big. If you're going to do something, you might as well think big, do it big, because it's just as tough, and sometimes it's a lot easier thinking big than doing a small task that's more difficult. One of your greatest graduates, General Eisenhower, used to say, whenever I run into a problem that I can't solve, I always like to make it bigger to solve it and solve more of it. If you're going to solve a problem, it might as well be a big problem as opposed to a small problem that lots of people can take advantage of and solve. So you can achieve something really amazing. Think big. Third, though, you got to do this. Brain power you have to have. Potential you have to have. But to be really successful, you're always going to have to work hard. An example is a great athlete, Gary Player, great golfer. He wasn't as big as the other men that were playing against him, great, big, strong guys. Gary was a smaller guy. I don't want to say too small. He's a friend of mine. He gets a little angry at people because he hits the ball just as far. He said, I hit the ball further than them. Why am I small? But he worked very, very hard. He was always doing exercise. He was well ahead of his time. He never stopped. He won 168 golf tournaments. He won 18 majors, 9 regular and 9 on the senior tour. 18 with 168. That's the most tournaments internationally, the most tournaments anybody's ever won. But he made a statement years ago, and I heard it. He's the first one. I think I've heard it a couple of times since, but he was the first. He said, it's funny. The harder I work, the luckier I get. And think of that. The harder I work, the luckier I get. And he worked hard, and you're working hard, and the harder you work, the luckier you're going to get. Fourth is don't lose your momentum. Momentum's an amazing thing. Keep it going. I tell a story sometimes about a man who was a great, great real estate man. He was a man who was admired for real estate all over the world, actually, but all over the country. He built Levittowns. He started as a man who built one house. Then he built 2, then he built 5, then he built 20, then he built 1,000, then he built 2,000 and 3,000 a year. And he got very big, very big. He was great at what he did. You see him all over the country still, Levittowns. This was a long time ago, but he was the first of the really, really big home builders. And he became very rich, became a very rich man. And then he decided to sell. He was offered a lot of money by a big conglomerate, Gulf and Western, big conglomerate. They didn't do real estate. They didn't know anything about it, but they saw the money he was making. They wanted to take it to a public company. And they gave him a lot of money, tremendous amount of money, more money than he ever thought he'd get. And he sold his company, and he had nothing to do. He ended up getting a divorce, found a new wife. Could you say a trophy wife? I guess we can say a trophy wife. It didn't work out too well, but it doesn't, and that doesn't work out too well, I must tell you. A lot of trophy wives, doesn't work out. But it made him happy for a little while at least. But he found a new wife. He sold his little boat and he got a big yacht. He had one of the biggest yachts anywhere in the world. He moved for a time to Monte Carlo and he led the good life. And time went by and he got bored. And 15 years later, the company that he sold to called him And they said, the housing business is not for us. You have to understand, when Bill Levitt was hot, when he had momentum, he'd go to the job sites every night. He'd pick up every loose nail. He'd pick up every scrap of wood. If there was a bolt or a screw laying on the ground, he'd pick it up and he'd use it the next day in putting together a house. But now he was spoiled, and he was rich. He was really rich. And they called and they said, this isn't for us, this business. We do other things. Would you like to buy it back? We'll sell it back to you cheap. And they did. He bought it. He bought it. He thought he made a great deal, and he was all excited. But it was 15 years later. He lost a lot of momentum. Remember the word momentum. And he lost everything. It just didn't work. He lost everything. And I was sitting at a party on Fifth Avenue one night, a long time ago, and you had the biggest people in New York, the biggest people in the country, all in that party, and they were all saluting each other, how great they were. They were all telling each other, I'm greater than you. Gets to be really, gives you a headache sometimes. But they had all these people, they're telling their own stories about how fantastic, a cocktail party, and I looked over, and I was doing well. I was invited to the party, so I had to be doing well. I was very, very young, but I made a name in real estate, and I looked over, and at the party, sitting in a corner all by himself, nobody was talking to him, was Mr. Levitt. He had just gone bankrupt, lost everything. He had lost everything, his home, everything. And I went over and talked to him because he was in the real estate business, and I loved real estate, and I said, hello, Mr. Levitt, how are you? He said, hello, Donald, it's nice to meet you. He knew me from being in the business. I said, so how's it going? He goes, not well. It's really not going well, as you've probably read. It's been a very, very tough period for me, son. I said, so what happened? It's just anything you can do? He goes, no, there's not a thing I can do. He said, I'll never forget. He said, I've lost my momentum. I just didn't have it. I used to have it, but I lost my momentum. So it's a story I tell, and you have to know when you have the momentum, but sometimes you have to also know when you've lost the momentum. And leaving a field sometimes, leaving what you're doing sometimes is okay. But you got to have momentum, but you have to know if that momentum's gone. You have to know when to say, it's time to get out. And it's a very sad story. I remember that story so well, like it was yesterday. Fifth, you have to have the courage to take risks and to do things differently. Eisenhower, again, was threatened with court-martials as a young officer for advocating a new doctrine of tank warfare. Billy Mitchell was thrown out of the Army for pioneering the use of air power. They said, what do you mean air power? Don't be ridiculous. People willing to try and do things differently. It's never going to be easy for them, but they're the ones that are going to really do the important things. They're the ones who are going to make history. So don't be ashamed and don't be afraid. This is a time of incredible change, and we do not need an officer corps of careerists and yes men and people that want to keep it going the way it's been, because it changes rapidly, especially what you're doing. Because believe it or not, you're in a business and profession where things change as rapidly like warfare, the type of warfare. Unfortunately, we're getting to see it with Russia and Ukraine, and we're studying it, and it's a very terrible thing to study. But we're seeing the different forms of warfare. We're seeing the drones that are coming down at angles and with speed and with precision. We've never seen anything like it. We've never seen anything like it, and we're learning from it. But your profession changes very rapidly. You've got to be at the top of it. You've got to be right at the head of the needle. We need patriots with guts and vision and backbone who take personal risks to ensure that America wins every single time. We want to win our battles. You know, I defeated ISIS in 3 weeks. They told me it would take 5 years. And the general that did it, you know that story, was named Raisin Cane. His name is Dan Kane, but his nickname was Raisin Cane. I said, your name is Raisin Cane. I love that. Is that a nickname? That's what they call me, sir. I love you, General. I think you're the guy I'm looking for. I want to know a guy named Raisin Cane, and he is now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, and he's a highly respected man. And we defeated, think of it, ISIS. They said, how long in Washington? Sir, it will take 4 years to defeat them, maybe 5. And maybe we won't because they're all over the place. And then I met a man that said we can do it in 3 weeks, and he did it, 3 weeks. And that's why he's the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff right now. And we did things that nobody thought were possible. We've had great military success. When you have the right leader and you have the right people, and we have the right people, you're going to have tremendous success. Sixth, never lose your faith in America and the American people, because they're always going to be there for you. I went through a very tough time with some very radicalized, sick people. And I say I was investigated more than the great, late Alphonse Capone. Alphonse Capone was a monster. He was a very hardened criminal. I went through more investigations than Alphonse Capone, and now I'm talking to you as president. Can you believe this? Can you believe it? So you got to fight hard. You got to never give up, and don't let bad people take you down. You got to let them. You got to take them down. Got a lot of bad people out there, and those people, you have to figure it out. But you also have a lot of great people. Finally, hold on to your culture and your traditions, because that's what makes something really great, and that's what's made the Army great, the culture and the tradition. Whether we're talking about a battalion, a business, a sports team, or even a nation, history has shown that in many ways culture is destiny. So do not let anyone destroy the culture of winning. You have to win. Winning is a beautiful thing. Losing, not for us. It's not for us. Not for anybody here. If it was, you wouldn't be here. From the earliest days of our nation, this supreme tradition of American military service has been passed down from soldier to soldier and generation to generation, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. Graduating today is Cadet Ricky McMahon, Ricky's great-grandfather. Stand up wherever you are, Ricky, because you're going to like this. Ricky's great-grandfather served in World War I. His grandfather served in World War II. And his uncle, father, and mother all graduated from West Point. Where is Ricky? In 2004, when Ricky was just a little tiny boy, who would think about that, Ricky, a little tiny boy? His dad, Lieutenant Colonel Michael McMahon, made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation in Afghanistan. Today, Lieutenant Colonel McMahon rests not far from here in the West Point Cemetery. Last year, 2 decades after losing his father, Ricky placed a gold chip from his dad's 1985 class ring into a crucible along 87 other rings were with it. Point grads that were melted down to forge those now worn by the class of 2025. Do you all know that? Do you know that? What you're wearing? I want one. Ricky, I want one. Each of you will carry Michael's memory with you always as you continue the legacy he gave you. It gave you something that would be so proud. He would be so proud. He is proud as he looks down. To Ricky and his mom, Jeanette, you embody what this place is all about. And I know Michael, he's up there. He's smiling broadly, so proud. He's so proud of you today. You know that. And he's a man that couldn't be, and he is a man that couldn't be more proud. And I want to just, I just love that story. And everybody's ring, they're going to remember your family. And most importantly, you're going to remember a great tradition. It's a great tradition of West Point and of winners. Thank you very much. It's great to meet you. Thank you. You can sit down. You want to come up? If you want to come up, come up. Come on up. Come on up here. That's nice. You're a handsome guy. They're all good looking here. I don't know what's going on. The whole crowd is beautiful. Thank you very much.
I'd like to thank my mother, I'd like to thank my family, and I'd like to thank G3, Go Gophers.
These are good-looking people, I'll tell you, General. What's going on over here? Look like all a bunch of male models. I can't stand it. For 2.5 centuries, our republic has endured because of heroes like Michael who've laid down their lives for America, and because young people like all of you have picked up the banner of service and carried forward the flag of freedom from Lexington to Yorktown, from Gettysburg to Sicily, and from Incheon to Fallujah. America has been won and saved by an unbroken chain of soldiers and patriots who ran to the sound of the guns, leapt into the maw of battle, and charged into the crucible of fire to seize the crown of victory, no matter the odds, no matter the cost, no matter the danger. All over the world, our soldiers have made sacred the ground where they shed their blood and showed their valor. From Seminary Ridge to San Juan Hill, Belleau Wood, Omaha Beach, Leyte Gulf, and Ardennes Forest, Chosin Reservoir, all over, and even a place called Pork Chop Hill. And in all of those battles and so many more, some of the best, brightest, and bravest have come from right here at the U.S. Military Academy at West Point, one of the great fabled places anywhere in the world. America's Army has never failed us, and with leaders like the West Point class of 2025, the Army will never fail. We will never let you down. And over the last week, I had the honor of speaking to the heads of many countries, and they would say, 2 weeks ago, they say the 8th, they said, "Sir, we're celebrating the victory today of World War II." And I said, "Wow, that's nice." Then I'd call another one, unrelated. "Sir, we're celebrating the victory of World War II." Then I called up President of France on something also unrelated. He said, "Sir, we're celebrating our victory over World War II." I said, "Whoa, whoa, what have we here?" We helped them a lot. And I had this. Russia, I talked to Putin about ending that terrible war that's going on, and he said they're having a big victory march. And they did lose, in all fairness, 51 million people. But they were all celebrating. The only country that wasn't celebrating was the United States of America. And I said, "Isn't it amazing? We were the ones that won the war, and we were helped. We were helped. In some cases, we had to help them. But we were helped by some of the nations, and we were strongly helped by a couple of them. But every one of them was celebrating. They had Victory Day. They called it Victory Day in Europe, Victory Day all over. And we weren't even thought about. Nobody had a Victory Day. And so I named that special day and another special day from now on as a holiday, but a holiday where we work, because we don't have enough days. We're going to be having so many holidays, we're not going to be able to work anymore. But I named it for World War II and a separate day in November, as you know, for World War I said, you know, all of these countries that participated in the war are celebrating, but the greatest country of them all, and the country that won the war, nobody even talked about. And so we're going to be talking about it, too, from now on. And I think you'll appreciate it. We won the First World War. We won the Second World War. And you know where we won them from? Right here at West Point. West Point won the war. You won 2 world wars and plenty of other things. But you think of it. We don't want to have a 3rd World War. But we won the First World War. We won the Second World War right here from West Point. And that's something. And we're going to be talking about it. You know, they can talk about it. And in some cases, as you know, they didn't do too much to help. They were ground down, but they were celebrating victory. No, we're going to celebrate victory because we're the ones that won that war. Standing before you today, I know that you will never stop. You will never quit. You will never yield. You will never tire. You will never, ever, ever surrender, never give up. Remember that, never give up. That's another little factor I could have added. Never, ever give up. Raise your right hand. I pledge I will never, ever give up. You can never give up. You can never give up. If you do, you're not going to be successful because you'll go through things that will be bad. You're going to have great moments. You're going to have bad moments. You can never give up. Through every challenge and every battle, you'll stand strong, you'll work hard, you'll stay tough, and you will fight, 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 and win, win, win. So I want to just congratulate you all. I'm going back now to deal with Russia, to deal with China. What's that all about? That's it. And to get you lots of victories. We're going to keep winning. This country is going to keep winning. And with you, the job is easy. I want to thank you all. Congratulations to the class of 2025. God bless you all. Incredible people. Thank you very much, everybody.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, please remain standing for the presentation of the class gift. The class president, Cadet Catherine LaRue, will present a panoramic photo of the class of 2025 to the president.
President Trump, on behalf of the class of 2025, I would like to present you with this class photo as a token of appreciation for your inspiring words today. Thank you, sir.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Stole it.
Hey, attention! Hey, free. Cut. Hey, present. On.
Class, attention. Cover. Present. Arms.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the departure of the president.
thank you very much. We have a very big announcement today. It has to do with nuclear energy and other things. And this is all nuclear. It's a hot industry. It's a brilliant industry. You have to do it right. It's become very safe and environmental, yes, 100%. So I'm going to ask Doug Burgum to talk about it a little bit to start. And maybe Will, you'll follow him up.
Yes, sir.
And we're going to have Pete Hegseth speak from a military standpoint, but this is very all-inclusive. We're signing tremendous executive orders today that really will make us the real power in this industry, which is a big industry. Doug, why don't you go ahead?
Well, thank you, President Trump. This is a huge day for the nuclear industry. Mark this day on your calendar. This is going to turn the clock back on over 50 years of over-regulation of an industry. American greatness has always come from innovation, and we were very innovative. We led post-World War II in all things nuclear, but then we've been stagnated. We've choked it with over-regulation. Today, Will is going to walk us through a series of 4 executive orders. Each of these help attack separate issues that have held back this industry. And with us today, we've got a number of CEOs from the industry representing some of our largest nuclear providers, but also a big change. This is a time when capital and competition has finally come to this industry. We've got venture capital, we've got startups coming into all aspects of small modular nuclear, and we've also got an EO that's talking of us having a secure supply chain of being able to get that fuel load here in the United States as opposed from foreign sources. This has impacts on national security, on our defense, and again, President Trump here today has committed to energy dominance. And part of that energy dominance is that we've got enough electricity to win the AI arms race with China. What we do in the next 5 years related to electricity is going to determine the next 50, because this is the first time in history where electricity can be turned into intelligence. And we need that intelligence for every aspect of our economy, but also for defense. Pete Hegseth in the Department of Defense has been a key part of this, and this is going to help us make sure that we're providing the defense we need, where we need that AI, need the electricity, but also to secure our bases here at home and around the world. Secretary?
Sure, I'll just add to that before going to Will. Energy security is national security. If we don't have reliable energy for our basing, for our troops, whether forward deployed or domestically, we're vulnerable. So by having small modular nuclear capabilities, which are rapidly being fielded, that we can use on our bases here and around the world, we're creating an environment where if things happen elsewhere, the military can be relied upon. Also, we're including artificial intelligence into everything we do. If we don't, we're not fast enough. We're not keeping up with adversaries. You need the energy to fuel it. Nuclear is a huge part of that, modular or otherwise. So we're going to have the lights on and AI operating when others do not, faster than everybody else because of nuclear capability. So this is a big game changer for us as well.
And we're also talking about the big plants, the very, very big, the biggest. We're going to be doing them also, but we're going to start off a little bit. I think our focus today is the smaller module, but included in this group, we're also doing big plants where needed. They won't be needed too much, but they'll literally be able to do it in an entire state. And you've read a lot about cost overruns in a couple of states that were pretty significant, but we're not going to have cost overruns. And the technology's come a long way, both in safety and cost and everything else. Would a couple of you guys like to talk about your companies, and you want to say anything?
Joe, why don't you kick it off?
Sure. My name's Joe Dominguez. I run Constellation Energy. We have the nation's fleet. We're the largest publicly traded nuclear company in the world. We're in the middle of a merger with Calpine, and once completed, we will be the largest electric producing company in the world. About enough power to produce, to cover all of Mexico, actually.
I didn't know that. When we talked, you were so modest. I can't believe it.
That's normally not said about me, Mr. President.
I'm very impressed. Go ahead. So you think it's got a great future?
Yeah, well, absolutely we do. And the big change here is not only the technology has come around, but we have some of the largest companies in the world, the hyperscalers, who need this energy for AI, who are now working with us to fund the development and construction of the next generation nuclear. Nuclear is a 24/7 resource. These data centers run 24/7. Some of them will cost $200-300 billion, and they want to run them all of the time. So we can't use intermittent resources. We need something that's always on, 24/7, and nothing does that better than nuclear. The problem in the industry has historically been regulatory delay. Mr. President, you know this because you're the best at building big things. Delay in regulations and permitting will absolutely kill you, because if you can't get the plant on, you can't get revenue, and the interest costs are horrible. We're wasting too much time on permitting, and we're answering silly questions, not the important ones. For example, let me give you an example. In 3 places in this country, we're trying to license new reactors at sites that already have reactors. Yet I have to spend $35 billion at each site just for the NRC to do an analysis that says this is a good place for nuclear. Well, guess what? We've been running nuclear in that community for 4 decades. Why are we even asking that question? I'd rather spend that $35 million, 3 times $105 million, perfecting a design, start building the foundation, and getting going. We need to do this for America.
Are we doing something about the regulatory in here?
Oh, yes, sir.
You are,
Because
sir.
that's going to be a big factor.
Yes, sir. That issue I just described will be addressed in this EO, and many other issues that we don't have time with the president to
But
cover
you say
today.
it's very, we've contemplated just about everything.
Well, this, Mr. President, this Energy Dominance Council that you have created is something I haven't seen in 30 years. It brings together all the pieces of government in one place to expedite the process. Under Secretary Burgum's leadership, this has been an amazing, amazing thing. It used to be the case that I have to run to about 5 different places in Washington to get one answer.
That's great.
And now it's all together in one place. So all I know about Secretary Burgum and Secretary Wright is if we haven't gotten it right, we'll get it right shortly, and there'll be another
That's
order
good.
for you to
I'm
sign.
glad
But
they're
thank you
addressing-
so much for
I'm
your
glad they're
leadership.
addressing. You were going to say something? Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say commercial nuclear, a bit of an unsung hero. And I just want to thank you, Mr. President, Secretary Burgum, Secretary Wright, for bringing this attention to commercial nuclear. We have the largest and most safe fleet right here in the United States. And upon that, we have fantastic innovation that's being brought forward. And it's going to come in all shapes and sizes. And it's going to actually be coming through some of these companies that you see represented here. We're going to have great jobs. We're going to have wonderful energy. And we're going to be ready. So thank you, Mr. President,
you.
for
Very
leaning
good.
in.
Appreciate it. Great job you've done, too.
Jake?
How about talking about your company and the job you're going to do?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Well, first of all, a little MIT nuclear connection that goes back. I know familial for you. So, yeah, we're working on small reactors. I'm Jacob DeWitt, CEO, co-founder at Oklo. Working on small next-generation reactors that take technology America invented, developed, and pioneered and bringing it to the market after it sat on the shelves of history for about 40 years. And it's because of the actions that you're doing today that are going to help unleash that. Changing the permitting dynamics is going to help things move faster. We're seeing private investment flow into this space like we've never seen before. We went public about a year ago. One of the most successful actually go public outcomes for a transaction like that for a small nuclear company, because the market needs this and wants this. And under your leadership, creating the Dominance Council, I mean, it's hard to overstate the value of that. And nuclear is a manifestation of energy dominance. In fact, a golf ball of uranium metal, which this is not, but it's a golf ball, has enough energy content in it to power your entire life's energy needs. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. And to get back to building, nuclear uses the fewest materials, right? The least amount of concrete, of steel, of fuel for amount of energy it produces. So it should be the cheapest, the most scalable, the most sustainable. Just like you mentioned, Mr. President, about the importance of doing that right. The physics are on our side, and these things help unleash this innovation to actually realize that. So it's never been more exciting.
Very exciting indeed. Go ahead, please.
And I'm Scott Nolan, CEO of General Matter. We're an American enrichment company trying to bring back the U.S.'s lead in producing nuclear fuel. So just like car engines need fuel, nuclear reactors need fuel. Right now the U.S. is completely dependent on other countries to make the key step of enrichment in this fuel. And these executive orders are going to pave the way for the U.S. to regain its lead. So we really appreciate it.
Will you be doing the AI plants? Because we have a lot of them going up now, and or soon going up, and they need tremendous electricity. Are you going to be involved in many of these plants?
Yes.
Will a lot of them be using nuclear, or some are using oil and gas, some are using different things? But
Many of them will be, I think.
it just makes a lot of sense.
Nuclear is a perfect solution, and that's where most of them are interested.
Good luck.
Thank you.
That'll be great.
It's going to be, yes.
Okay, Will, please.
The first executive order we have for you relates to the issue that Secretary Hegseth was speaking to, which is the need for incredible amounts of power at defense installations and also in AI-focused installations. What this executive order will do is speed up the approval and adoption process for specialized nuclear reactors at these sorts of sites. It also involves the Department of Energy making available the necessary fuel stock. It also creates a special envoy position and a strategy around nuclear technology export, the idea being that we can grow American industry on the back of foreign purchasers who are interested in this sort of technology as well.
I'm just thinking, as you say that, I just said, what about auto pens? Could I use an auto pen? What did Biden do? Did he have an auto pen at the desk?
Nuclear powered.
No, he didn't do events like that. Yeah, he used nuclear power. You know, he didn't do events like this, I guess. It's so, right? Otherwise, you know, you walk into the other side of the room, have an auto pen sign, right? Here it is. It's phase one. Very big phase, very important phase.
Sir, this next executive order is intended to reform the Nuclear Regulatory Commission. You heard a few of the people here speak about the complex regulatory processes that have really held the nuclear industry back. Before 1978, there were 133 reactors built in the United States. Since 1978, only 2 new commercial reactors have come online. That's because of overregulation, and the goal of this executive order is bringing that regulatory process into line with the actual needs of the industry and public safety, with an end goal of quadrupling the amount of nuclear power production in the next 2.5 decades.
It's fantastic. It's exciting, right? There you go.
This next executive order relates to nuclear reactor testing, sir. The degree of overregulation and governmental inaction in this space in particular has had the effect of throttling development of new, highly modernized nuclear reactors that could really revolutionize the field of nuclear power generation. So this executive order, it orders a revised regulatory process to speed this whole process while preserving, obviously, core safety concerns. It also creates a new pilot program with an expectation that we will have 3 new experimental reactors online by July 4th next year.
It's amazing. That's exciting. Okay, come on.
Lastly, sir, we have an executive order on reinvigorating the nuclear industrial base. There are a number of core issues here, including the issue with fuel feedstock that one of the speakers mentioned before. This executive order, among other actions, includes an invocation of the Defense Production Act in order to spur a closer collaboration with private industry to ensure that we have the fuel supplies we need for a modernized nuclear energy sector. In addition to that, it includes crucial provisions relating to the development of a nuclear energy sector workforce and a number of other key building blocks to the overall nuclear industry that we're trying to spur here.
Right. Thank you.
And we have one more for you here, sir. This doesn't directly relate to nuclear energy, but it's on a similar subject. This executive order is entitled Restoring Gold Standard Science. One of the issues that we've had in recent decades is that government policy has been made on the back of junk science. Scientific studies and findings that have included conflicts of interest or scientific misconduct. The purpose of this executive order is to recenter policymaking around gold standard science, scientific efforts that have followed appropriate scientific methods that don't include those sorts of conflicts of interest, and to ensure that when departments and agencies are relying on scientific studies to promulgate rules, to promulgate regulations, that the science that they're relying on is highly reliable and available to the public.
He did a very good job, didn't he? He did. How many people here could have done that? I don't know. I think a lot. Thanks. Good job, Will.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Is that it?
That's all we have for you now.
That's it. Any questions for these brilliant people? They are brilliant people, actually.
Mr. President, on nuclear, sir, a lot of the concern over the years that's helped the nuclear industry back is about safety. Are you satisfied with those safety concerns?
Yeah, we are. It's become very safe. Actually, it's become very safe, and tremendous work's been done on that, more than anything else. And it's really the automatic shutoffs. There's so many different things that they have now that they would have never had. You know, my uncle was a great nuclear person years ago, and that was a different, if you would have asked that question, probably it would have been a much different answer. But they have tremendous shut-off power and other powers that, and very redundant, as I understand it, like at a level that nobody's ever seen before. So it's safe. And we're going to do a lot of the small ones, and we're going to do some of the big ones. But yeah, very safe and clean. Let's keep it on this for a little while. Let's keep it on the nuclear, and then if you want to ask something else, which you might, we'll do that.
On nuclear, Mr. President.
Yeah, please.
What do you say to folks who are concerned that speeding up licensing or even doing fuel processing raises safety and proliferation?
Yeah, we're going to get it very fast, and we're going to get it very safe, and we're going to get the people in and out. And they're going to do plants. In many cases, they'll do 3 or 4 smaller ones and put them together. That's what France has done. France has done a good job of this for years. And they, as I understand it, they had basically one plan. And if they needed more, they'd do 3 or 4 or 5 of them. I don't know, we have to go that far, but you know, there's something about building one big one. But we'll build the big ones too. We're going to have, I would say we'll be second to none, because we're starting very strong. But it's time. It's time for nuclear, and we're going to do it very big. Yeah, please.
Mr. President, what about the European Union? You said that negotiations are going nowhere. Where are the kind of points where they're
slow moving? I've been saying to everybody badly over the years, it was formed in order to hurt the United States, in order to take advantage of the United States, and they've done that. We have a big deficit with them. They sell millions and millions of cars, as you know, Mercedes and BMW and Volkswagen. And many others, and we were restricted from restricted from selling cars into the European Union, which is not nice. And I just said it's time that we play the game the way I know how to play the game. You know, they've taken advantage of other people representing this country, and they're not going to do that any longer. Yeah.
Mr. President, you are a deal maker, deal breaker. What are you hoping to achieve with a 50% tariffs on the EU?
Well, I think this is there is no tariff, because what they'll do is they'll send their companies into the U.S. and build their plant. You know, we have, I guess, over $12 trillion practically committed. You look at other presidents; they haven't had $1 trillion for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. We have numbers. Nobody's ever seen numbers like we have. And if they build their plant here, then they have no tariff at all.
Are you looking for a deal in 9 days? Will you be able to do that, sir?
I'm not looking for a deal. I mean, we've set the deal. It's at 50%. But again, there is no tariff if they build their plant here. Now, if somebody comes in and wants to build a plant here, I can talk to them about a little bit of a delay. But, you know, while they're building their plant, which is something I think that would be appropriate, maybe, we'll determine that.
Is there anything the EU can do?
I don't know. We're going to see what happens. But right now it's going on June 1st. And that's the way it is. No, they haven't treated us properly. They haven't treated our country properly. They banded together to take advantage of us. And the people behind me know, because they had some of that with their industry. But generally, you know, we signed a great deal with United Kingdom. We have numerous other deals that are ready to be signed. We've signed a deal with China. We have some really amazing deals, but the European Union, I mean, the sole purpose was really not to hurt us, but to take advantage of us, and we're not going to be taking advantage.
Mr. President, on Apple, you said this morning that if they don't make their iPhones in the U.S., you're going to hit them with a 25% tariff.
Right.
Do you have the power to tariff one single company, and why would you want to hurt an American company in that way?
It would be more. It would be also Samsung and anybody that makes that product. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fair. So anybody that makes that product, and that'll start on, I guess at the end of June it'll come out. I think we have that appropriately done by the end of June. So if they make that product. Now, again, when they build their plant here, there's no tariff. So they're going to be building plants here. But I had an understanding with Tim that he wouldn't be doing this. He said he's going to India to build plants. I said, that's okay to go to India, but you're not going to sell into here without tariffs. And that's the way it is. Yeah.
Well, why would you live in America?
What makes you confident, sir, that Apple can build in the United States at a price that American consumers?
Oh, they can. No, they can. And a lot of it's so computerized now. These plants are amazing if you look at them, but they can do that. And actually, as you know, Apple's coming in with $500 billion. So are the chip companies. We have all of the chip companies coming in. The biggest, $500 billion, $200 billion, $250 billion they're spending. But we're talking about the iPhone now, and the iPhone. If they're going to sell it in America, I want it to be built in the United States. They're able to do that.
When you say that Walmart should eat the cost of the tariffs, is that an acknowledgement that it is U.S. companies that bear the brunt of tariffs, not foreign countries?
Sometimes the country will eat it. Sometimes Walmart will eat it, and sometimes there'll be something to pay, something extra. I've always been a fan, and I've always believed. And if you look, take a look at what I did 4 years ago. We had the greatest economy, and we had no inflation. Remember that. We had no inflation, and yet we had hundreds of billions of dollars of tariffs that I put on China, yet we had no inflation. We had no big cost differential. Oftentimes, and I don't like it when a department store, because they'll do a lot of business, but they announce record profits and everything else. They have to take out some of their profits or make a little bit less money. But I don't want the consumer. I don't want the consumer to pay.
But why impose tariffs that you know are hurting American businesses?
They're not hurting. They're helping because they're creating jobs in America. We're creating tremendous amounts of jobs in America like you've never seen. We're having investment in America. We're not getting ripped off by every country in the world. We've been ripped off by every country in the world. They're making their product. They sell it. They don't give our people the jobs. They make them with other countries' jobs. And we will have something that nobody will ever see again, I think. I think we have a potential to do numbers that we never envisioned in the wildest year. Look at what's happening. 10 to 12 trillion dollars in literally a couple of months. It's nothing like that's ever happened. It's we're doing a very special thing. We want, if they're going to sell it here, generally speaking, not for all products. There's some products we don't want to make. And frankly, we're much better off getting them elsewhere. But for certain products, we want cars. We want to make cars. We don't want to have, and I like Canada very much, but we don't want to have Canada making our cars. We want to make our cars. Oh, it's a phone call. Do you mind? Hello? Okay, it's only a congressman. I'd let you know, actually.
Mr. President, are you considering stopping other universities from taking foreign students?
It's a different congressman. They're all congratulating us. Yeah, it's lucky it is. Okay, let's go.
Are you considering stopping other universities besides Harvard from accepting foreign
Well, we're
students?
taking a look at a lot of things. And as you know, billions of dollars has been paid to Harvard. How ridiculous is that? Billions. And they have $52 billion as an endowment. They have $52 billion. And this country is paying billions and billions of dollars and then gives student loans, and they have to pay back the loans. So Harvard's going to have to change its ways. And so are some others.
On that note, a lot of CEOs in the United States, big companies, are foreign. What is that going to do?
I'm fine with that. No, I'm fine with that. No, we want to do that. We're actually going to be doing something in the near future that's going to make it possible for people to come into this country and come in and have a road toward citizenship. And I think it'll be very exciting, but it's too soon to speak.
You don't think that banning students?
The best and brightest from around the world to
I do, but a lot of the people need remedial math. Did you see that? Where the students can't add 2 and 2 and they go to Harvard. They want remedial math, and they're going to teach remedial math at Harvard. Now, wait a minute. So why would they get in? How can somebody that can't add or has very basic skills, How do they get into Harvard? Why are they there? And then you see those same people picketing and screaming at the United States and screaming at, they're anti-Semitic or they're something. We don't want troublemakers here. But how do people that can't, when Harvard comes out with a statement that they're going to teach some of their students remedial math, that's basic math, that's not the deal. Okay, and any more? In the back?
Are there other countries you're considering shortening the 90-day pause on tariffs for? And then are there specific steps you're looking for the EU to take?
We do. Well, we have a lot of requests, and you don't have the people to handle it. Frankly, everybody wants to make a deal. I'm sure now the European Union wants to make a deal very badly, but they just they don't do it right. They don't go about it right. The other thing they do is they sue our companies all the time. They have suits where their judges, I don't know if they're appointed by them, but they're definitely Europe-centric, and we're not going to stand for it. They won a $17 billion lawsuit for Apple, and I read that case, and that's not a case that should have been won. They're suing other of our companies. They use this as a weapon, but they use it really to raise funds for what they do. It's almost like a fundraising mechanism. So we add that to the fact that they do the non-monetary tariffs and lots of other trading, you would call them trading barriers. They don't take our cars. They don't take our agriculture. They don't take anything, but we take their cars by the millions. And therefore, they have the jobs, they get the money, and we get closed plants. It's not going to happen that way anymore. Thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press. Thank you, press.